None of the members of the Aaronic priesthood were ever called great. Melchizedek himself was not called great. What made Jesus a great high priest and distinctive and above all others is that he is passed into the heavens. He's the great high priest in the heavens because of several factors. Number one, the high priest, the office itself. Number two, he passes into the heavens. As the great apostle. As is addressed in chapter 3. Wherefore, holy brethren, partakers of the heavenly calling, consider the apostle and high priest of our profession, Christ Jesus. And finally, he's a great high priest because he also holds the office of that prophet. He's a triple threat. He's the hat trick of religious leaders. Those who follow hockey. I don't follow hockey. A hat trick is like batting a cycle in baseball. In baseball, you hit a single the first time, double the second time, triple, then a home run. You call it hitting the cycle. In hockey, to score 3 goals in one game is called a hat trick. Not something very often done. Well, Jesus is a cycle batter and the hat tricker of religious things and things pertaining to God. Chapter 5, for every high priest taken from among men is ordained for men in things pertaining to God, that he may offer both gifts and sacrifices for sins. Just pray for me. All right? What kind of miles here? Circle. Says he's ordained for men. A high priest is an office for men. What makes him qualified? Who can have compassion on the ignorant and on them that are out of the way, for that he himself also is compassed with infirmity. I've been saying so many years preaching that children of God and saints of God should be the pack leaders in the areas of grace and mercy. We should be the most gracious people in the world because we have been recipients of the grace of God. We should have more mercy than anybody because our whole life consists of the mercy of God put upon us. It's sad oftentimes when the saints are short-handed in these two areas and continue to be so throughout their saved lives. He lets us know that there are in church those who are ignorant. It's not a bad word. It simply means not to know. And in my years in dealing with saints, I've come to realize that there are many things that saints just don't know. And because they don't know, doesn't have the right to treat them different or to treat them like second-hand citizens, second-class citizens. It gives them a special place of compassion. They get a special pass, you might say. They should have special allowances because they don't know until God, either through His Word or by your actions shown to them, allows them to become informed as they walk with God. Then another group, those who are out of the way. To make that phrase simple, just lost. Getting saved does not make one informed automatically. And getting saved does not make one found. There's simply a sinner who's gotten saved, who's still out of the way in things pertaining to God. They're lost in things pertaining to God. And they're ignorant in things pertaining to God. And that's why God appointed a high priest for those who are ignorant and out of the way. And how is this high priest able to have compassion on them? Because he himself also is compassed with infirmity. He's not above the people. Aaron, so evident, when he was pressured into making the golden calf, was no different than the congregation. He was no different, folks, he was leading. When Moses came to him and asked him, what had he done? Aaron sounded like someone who was ignorant and out of the way. And his response, he said, you know the people. You know how they're bent on mischief? and you've been gone too long. So they came to me and wanted some God, so I tried to break up their rings and we put them to the fire and out came this can. Come on, Aaron, you did that a little bit. That's how he told it. He sounded like a simpleton. Hey, you read it. You went out and get the nerve to tell Moses that story. You really think Moses is going to buy that? We did the goat to the fire, and nobody engraved it or fashioned it. It just came out this golden calf, walked out the fire. This way. What are you saying, high priest? I'm saying that I'm compassed about with infirmity, like the people I'm leading. Father? Yes. A lot of churches make the mistake, this is a major mistake, of putting their preacher on a pedestal. There's only one thing that makes your preacher distinctive from you. The anointing. And that's only effective when he's operating in the office of God. I'm not anointed 365 days a year. That's my wife. That's my kids. I'm fully anointed 2 days a week. While I'm here, officiating things pertaining to God. And that's our difference. And I'm able to be an effective pastor because I'm compassed about infirmities and therefore can relate to you. I shouldn't be as ignorant of people I'm leading. I should know more about God than you do. I should know more about God's ways than you do. I should have had more dealings with God than you have. I should have more experiences with God than you have. I should know more about God's ways than you know. I don't know more about God's word than you know. But I'm not free of ignorance or being out of the way. Because if I were, I could never pastor you because I wouldn't understand you. It's like God in the Old Testament with Israel. He told Moses, get out the way. God could understand him. And God's first solution was to start again. I'll just start all over again, like I did with Abraham, except Moses, I'll make you Abraham, and I'll just flush down 430 years of time spent with these people and molding them together and start all over again. That was God's logic. And Moses prayed, and of course God didn't do it. But then God did make a change. Thank God he did. Or Israel would have never seen the promised land. He said, I'm not going to go with you. He said, I'll send my angel. And he'll lead you. Why did that, God? Because the angel will have more compassion. If man was made a little lower than the angels, then he's made a lot lower than God. And being made a little lower than the angels will at least be able to have some compassion. Not a whole lot, mind you. Like when Gabriel came down and talked to John the Baptist, or talked to his parents, and gave him the message. And his father, Zachariah, questioned Gabriel. Gabriel took offense. I mean, you can't blame Gabriel. He's the messenger. He's heaven's key messenger. He'd been to earth a few hundred years before that trip to bring a message to Daniel. And Zechariah, honorable as he was no Daniel. And Daniel didn't question Gabriel. And so for Zechariah to question Gabriel, Gabriel said, look, I'm Gabriel. He put his American Express card on. He said, I stand in the presence of the Lord. And since you don't believe the message, because you don't believe the message I give him, you won't speak until it's time to be fulfilled. And Zechariah came to the temple with a notepad, writing notes. And his next words he spoke was when he gave the name after John's birth. He said his name is John. But Gabriel was better than God as far as presenting the people before God and being an intermediary. So God told Israel, he said, I'm going to send my angel. I'll let him go. He said, now I'll stand back and see what your end will be. But I'm not going to go with you, because if I go with you, you won't make it. It's like when, after he spoke on Mount Sinai, and the people came to Moses, it said, don't let God speak to us anymore. And God said, it's a good thing they ask. It's a good thing. Because the chance to make the end would be better if Moses preached to them than if I did, because Moses, being a man like them, will have more compassion on the ignorant and those out of the way than I'm going to have. Who can have compassion on the ignorant and on them that are out of the way. I've learned my job when it comes to an end, where these two classes of people are concerned. Like a parent waiting for your kids to grow up in order to go and keep on going through this. While there's a parent, they never grow up. They grow older. They grow more mature. And when it comes to the problems they have are much bigger, much weightier. Not as frequent, but they're bigger. And their days of being a parent never, ever come to an end. And it becomes frustrating sometimes when they come to you and bend your ear and ask for advice and solutions. And then they even do something friends told them. After you get the person, I say, no, don't waste my time. Go to your friend. But as a parent, you can't do that. You might have been saved. But you still end up saying, what's the problem? Because it's just there. And I thank God for that. I thank God for the compassion. And by reason hereof, he ought, as for the people, so also for himself, to offer for sins. I said again, many times we put pastors on a pedestal and don't realize that he's just like you and I. And because he himself is also compassed with infirmity, not only as a high priest does Aaron offer up sacrifices for sins for the people, but also for himself. You got that? It's a great truth. Most churches don't understand that truth. If they realize that, they wouldn't fall to pieces when the leader falls. They realize that their leader stands in the same grace they stand in. It's saved by the same mercy they're saved by. You go to the Old Testament, the first thing Aaron did every morning was offer a sacrifice for him. And then for who? His sons, the priesthood. And then for the congregation, He did that every day. He closed death to sacrifice for himself, a sacrifice for his sons, and also for the congregation. God is bringing forth the great truth there, saying, the one I chose to be the mediator also is compassed with infirmities. And because of that, no man taketh this honor unto himself. It's an honor that cannot be achieved by one's initiative, or because one just wants to. And make no mistake about it. Being in this position is an honor. Jesus said himself, he said, a prophet is not without honor except in his own country, in his own household. Would to God that a prophet or someone in the priestly capacity would be honored by the people he preaches to all the time. That's why Jesus condemned Capernaum. He said, the mighty works that were done in thee have been done in Sodom and Gomorrah. He said, they would have repented a long time ago in sackcloth and ashes. He said, this is going to be more tolerable in the judgment for Sodom and Gomorrah than it's going to be for you, Capernaum, because he said, you're my hometown. I lived here, and nobody saw more of the grace and mercy of Jesus than Capernaum saw, and yet at the same time, they respected the least. But he should have the most honor in Capernaum. Well, that's kind of a pipe dream. But it'd be nice to see it that way. Now, as a congregation, you've grown a lot. Trust me. Some things just aren't going to be. And I know that. No man taketh this honor to himself, but he that is called of God, as was Aaron. What made Aaron different as a high priest in the rest of the congregation? Think about it, That's Aaron again. When Moses was talking to God at the burning bush, and Moses kept giving one protest after another why God shouldn't call him or use him, the last name excuse Moses used, he said, I can't speak. He says to me, time, God knows your limitation and he calls you. He doesn't call you because of your abilities. God calls you because of your disabilities. He calls you based on what you can't do. He calls you based on your shortcomings or what you don't have. Why? So he can get glory in you. He called a man, Moses, who was a slow speech, to go speak to the most powerful man in the world, Pharaoh, and speak in such a way that Pharaoh let his people go. God knew that Moses would appear as a joke to Pharaoh. I mean, can you imagine Pharaoh's kingdom, his palace? When Moses came here and talked and slow and stuttered. I said, so this guy can't even talk. How's he qualified to lead God's people? One way, God called him. And God anointed him for the job, and that's all he needed. And that's why God kept telling him at the burning bush that I will be with thee. This should be a token unto you. This mountain right here, where the bush is burning, is going to be the same mountain where I'll speak to the whole congregation later on. You'll serve me upon this mountain. That still didn't work. So finally God said, okay, I know your brother, Aaron. He can speak well. And by the way, he's on his way. And he'll be glad to see you. And that's how Aaron got his job. Because he could speak well. But you think about it, look at the life of Aaron. When did that ability to speak well ever serve him spiritually? It never did. The time to speak well would have been when they came to him with words Moses had been gone for today. Jesus said, look, everybody just chill out. You know from the Mount Sinai experiences that Moses said they're talking to God, and when God gets done talking to him, he'll be down, and everybody shut up and go home.
That's right. That's right.
That's trying to be eloquent.
Yes.
He's trying to speak well, he didn't say nothing. So his ability to speak well didn't accomplish anything. But God called him on that ability. Not because he's more spiritual. Not because he's better than the rest of the congregation. He said, I'm going to make you a high priest and a mediator because you got as many problems or more than folks could eat. And that's how God makes choices. Like it or not. You're as stuck with me as I am with you. Think about that for a moment. But I'm not. So you can't take this honor upon yourself. But he did his call of God, as was Aaron. So also, Christ glorified not himself to be made a high priest. Here's a case where I think that Christ could have self-appointed himself as a high priest. But he's qualified. I mean, somebody who's tempted in all points and yet without sin. So it says in verse 15 in chapter 4. But he was in all points tempted like as we are, yet without sin. He should be a good representative. A good high priest, and yet Christ, with all of his glory, did not take that office upon himself. But he that said unto him, my God the Father, what did he say? Thou art my son. Of whom did God say about anybody else? No one. Jesus is the only begotten Son of God. He said, thou art my son, today have I begotten thee. As he says also in another place, thou art a priest forever after the order of Melchizedek. Not like Melchizedek, because Melchizedek never passed into the heavens, but after the order of Melchizedek. I don't like the end because this is the message. Who in the days of his flesh, talking about Jesus, because right away brings line. I love the scripture in John. The world, the religious world, the secular world, has no problems giving Jesus accolades as being a great man. A religious founder, although when it's totally inaccurate, they think Jesus came to be the founder of Christianity. Got news for you, Jesus never started any religion. He never started any denomination, any sect. He said, I am the way. I am the truth. I am the life. I am the good shepherd. I am the door. Do what? Follow me. The world changed what he preached into what they call Christianity. Christianity ain't nothing. It's just another choice on the religious market. But Christ is everything. Amen. He's above and he supersedes Christianity by a long shot. But the world will credit Jesus with these things. What they won't credit Jesus with is being God in the flesh. That's why John, in his gospel, not the gospel in his epistle, he said, whosoever confesses that Jesus Christ is come to flesh is of God. Well, what does that mean, John? Yes, that's a question. What was he before he came in the flesh? And John's gospel tells us, he said that in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God, and the same was in the beginning with God. He said that he was all God. That's why he prayed in the 17th chapter of St. John. He says, and now, Father, glorify me with the glory that I had with you before the world was. You won't give him that. So the writer here, he says, who in the days of his flesh. Again, well, what days he had before his flesh? Spirit. He said, I proceeded out from God. And these folks are priesthood, these apostles believe I came forth from God, and I'm going back to God, and therefore they believe my message. But in the days of his flesh, when he had offered up prayers and supplications